I don't believe there's any possibility to have peace between Palestinians and Israel unless Hamas is involved directly in harmony with Fatah.
Palestinians rely on foreign aid to survive. Various summits and conferences have pledged billions of dollars. But as Owen now reports, some countries are failing to deliver on those promises.
Whenever world leaders gather to pledge aid to the Palestinian people, they like to take credit for their generosity.
By providing humanitarian assistance to Gaza, we also aim to foster conditions in which a Palestinian state can be fully realized.
But once the cameras are switched off, that generosity doesn't quite stand up to scrutiny. If you add up all the pledges made to the Palestinians since December 2007, it's an extraordinary amount of money. $7.7 billion promised in Paris. Another $4.5 billion this past March at Sharm el-Sheikh. And if you factor in the smaller conferences and private donations, it totals more than $14 billion in pledges. But it turns out there is a profound difference between pledges and actual payments. And if you'd like a precise number, then by all means do not take these pledges at face value. A warning offered by experts who have been closely involved since the Paris conference itself.
The realistic figure is definitely the 7.7 billion pledge in Paris 18 months ago. And we are still in that framework. We are still in the framework of the Paris conference. Everybody acknowledges that. Then came the Sharm el-Sheikh conference, so figures were quoted about 4.5 billion. But my guess is that a lot of that new money is not really new money. You know, part of it, and maybe the majority of it, is indeed something that was already in the 7.7 billion of Paris.
The Palestinian Authority relies heavily on international aid just to function. More than half of its budget comes from donations. This shortfall in promised money is having major ramifications in every area of the Palestinian economy. In the first few weeks following the Egyptian summit and the attention surrounding it, donations spiked to nearly $180 million for the month of March. But by May, the tally came to just $25 million. And that has happened now often enough to force the PA to take out bank loans to make up the difference. It's virtually impossible to prove or disprove intent, but given the disparity between what's been promised and what's actually been delivered, it certainly is fair to ask the following question. Are some governments behaving crassly and seeking credit for generosity which they know doesn't exist? If the answer to that question is yes, then at the very least the Palestinian people are being lied to.
It is a fair question, so you're totally right saying that summing the amounts is not legitimate.
And those sums don't even take into account the situation in Gaza. The difficulties getting money into Gaza itself are not close to being resolved, which makes these discrepancies about international pledges and the need to make good on them all the more urgent. The dictionary definition of a pledge is, quote, a binding promise. Right now it remains to be seen if countries intend on fulfilling their promises or if they're more interested in just taking the credit. Owen, Al Jazeera.